Hi creative friends, this is Saraya and thank you so much for being here. So you guys, I did start working on this with my oil pastels, and I thought that I thought I had pressed record and I had not, so I'm really sorry about that. I haven't worked on it like too much, but I did put some oil pastels down over here, and over here. I added some lines over here. I added some onto the bowl, as you can see. So I'm really sorry. Sometimes things just happen, you guys. I'm so sorry. But anyways, I'm just going to continue working on my painting, and I am going to talk a little bit about oil pastels and mixed media. I did make a couple of videos about a year ago, and I will put the link to the description below, but there were a lot of questions about oil pastels and mixed media because the general rule of thumb is you should always put oil pastels on last. It should be the very last layer, and in my video that I made, I do layer stuff over top of my oil pastels, and this is a personal choice that I make because I am not worried about preservation. Like, I am not thinking, oh, I want to preserve my work for 50 years or 100 years or whatever. That's the first thing. And the second thing is I'm not selling it. So if you are concerned about either one of those two things, which is to keep your work archival, you want to preserve it, or if you are selling your work, then generally the rule of thumb is do not layer anything over top of your oil pastels because they are called live. And the reason why they're called live is because they never fully dry. So just say I put oil pastels on here and I let it sit for like a year. Well, I can come back and I can still move it. Now you can put fixative, and they do sell fixatives. I think Senellier has one specifically for oil pastels, but as a general rule for me personally, I don't use fixatives because they tend to flatten whatever, just say like the reason why I'm using oil pastels is because I want that kind of lively, energetic, like I want that like look and feel to my art. And then when I put fixative, it like flattens everything out. So it does preserve it, but then it also like takes away the reason why I'm using the oil pastels in the first place. So that's just a personal decision that I make. But if you are concerned about those two things, then yes, I would not put anything over top of oil pastels. But for me personally, I'm not worried about that. So I am like, okay, I can layer over top of oil pastels. That being said, I tend to use my harder oil pastels if I'm gonna layer over top of it, but the Senelliers, I don't layer over top of those because those are super, super creamy. So, and they're also super expensive. So like for me personally, like I wouldn't want to cover those up because like say, I don't remember exactly, but let's say like these are the jumbo oil pastels from by Senellier, and just one of these are, I want to say they're about 12 to 13 euros because I purchased this at the actual Senellier store. And yeah, they're very pricey. Well worth it, you guys. But I don't want to cover it up, is my point. So yeah, but other than that, like I would just experiment and kind of see, like, hey, it's good to know the rules, but then, you can also break the rules too. Like, there's nothing wrong with breaking the rules if you know them. So yeah, I would just experiment, get out a cheap line composition notebook, and, just put down some oil pastels and then put stuff over top of it. Like maybe put some collage over top of it. Maybe put acrylic paint over top of it, acrylic ink over top of it. And some of it like is gonna resist because it's kind of like it's got a very like a high oil content, so it's gonna resist water media. So yeah, just if you want to just experiment and be curious about like, hey, what happens if I do this? What happens if I do that? There's absolutely nothing wrong with experimenting. And at some point, I might go over top of this and, just maybe paint a portrait or I don't know, whatever. So yeah, I personally don't have a problem putting stuff over top of my oil pastels. But that's just me because I'm not, worried about those two aspects I talked about. So I'm not going to do a whole lot here, you guys, because honestly, I did I already worked over top of it. I think I just want to put a few lines and maybe some shadows here. So I'm going to use this really big jumbo Senellier oil pastel for my, like some of my shadows here. And if you're worried about, like when you're using your finger, like I'm using my finger and the heat from my body, like my finger is like melting it and kind of like I want to smush it into the paper. If you're worried about getting your colors mixed up, then I would simply like just use one finger per color or just go wash your hands. Because, you know, you can kind of make stuff a bit muddy and I don't want to do that. So I'm trying to like keep my fingers separate here. So I'm gonna bring it up closer, you guys, just so you can see. And then I'm also gonna like move it further back. But like, do you see how it just gives it like a just a different feeling, because it just has so much like more depth to it. And I really love oil pastels, you guys. I'm gonna start using more of it. Now I didn't put any on here except for these lines because, you know, I just wanted to kind of focus on this apple and a little bit on the bowl. But yeah, I just let me see here. I just really love oil pastels. They just add like so much to your work. Okay, you guys, so this is the end of this video. If you've watched all the way to the end, thank you so much, and I hope that this has been helpful. If you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear them, so I'll see you in my next video. Bye.